What is happening, you beautiful bastards? This week we got something a little different for you, and I have no clue what it is because Jerry's surprising me with some bullshit.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it bullshit. This is going to be fantastic. We don't have a guest today. And no, it's not because we're unpopular. It's because we planned it that way. So what we're doing today...
This is what people want.
Yeah, people like these episodes where it's just us. I don't know why. We're not that smart, but it's good enough. So here's what we're going to do today. Griz and I are going to pick up our phones, and we're going to open up our news feed, and we're going to talk about whatever comes up. What do you think of that?
I'll just leave it to your news feed. Go.
Also, I have one more thing to announce. Peanut, come on.
Oh, God, it's dog.
Come on.
I would say, how small is this thing?
This is Peanut. Peanut is going to be on the show with us today because he's home alone with just me, and he doesn't like to be by himself.
Peanut's a little bitch.
So, let's get into the show.
What is happening, you beautiful bastards?
Jerry, what's first on your list, you son of a bitch?
Well, hold on. Have you been watching the news?
I actually have been kind of detached from it for the past, 2 or 3 weeks. I've been too busy.
Yeah, I kind of got that. I got that impression.
Jerry told me once that I'm the busiest person he knows.
That's true. Busy doing who knows what.
All sorts of shit.
I'm pretty sure it's a lie. He's not actually doing anything.
Fluff.
He just doesn't like to talk to people. But I did suspect you were not following the news lately. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to do this. I'll get you abreast, you know?
I have to take my breaks from it every once in a while, or else I'll just want to murder someone.
You know what my issue is with the news, which I'm sure we're going to find out when we're starting to look at these feeds. Depending on where you look at it, it's the same story, but a totally different spin. Like we were talking about Kyle Rittenhouse. If you look at what Fox News says about Kyle Rittenhouse on their headlines, he's some kind of like Batman hero type of character.
Yeah, I don't know how that is, but okay.
Yeah, but if you look at somebody like CNN,
pro Second Amendment, so
right. Well, he still broke the law at the end of the day. We'll talk about that in a second. But CNN makes him seem like he is a mass murderer out to go out on a shooting spree. I think both of them are pretty off base here. Yeah, they're real wrong.
Are we getting into that right now?
Well, no, just an example of what you've been missing.
I mean, to me, my problem with the news is, man, if I dig deep into it and the more I go into it, the more I realize how much bullshit there is, and it just angers me.
Well, this is why we're talking about it, Griz, because I don't want you to get angry.
This is an intervention.
We're going to analyze the news today. Tell everybody how fucked up we are as a country.
Right, cool.
Well, really,
not me.
As a planet, it's the new world order, so it's planetary now.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So,
the world is
Griz,
fucked.
Let's see what happens. I'll bring it up.
We're just fucking spinning it like The Price is Right. And
That's right. Let's see what we're going to get. You're right. It was Kyle Rittenhouse.
Of course it was. That's all it is right now.
Well, so because he came up first, let's talk about him. Kyle Rittenhouse defense claims Apple's AI manipulates footage when using pinch to zoom. Okay. Let's see who wrote this. This is TechSpot.
This is his defense?
No.
Or the
prosecutor? This is going to be the prosecutor, I think. But let me just take a quick look
I'm sorry, but that prosecutor is a fucking moron.
Yeah.
Not because of the Apple thing, but just in general. If you listen to like half of the shit he said, you're like, what? And even when like his arguments don't even really make sense or have a direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
That scenario is gray as fucking total in all sorts of ways, right? If you look at it from a person's perspective, right? Just Joe Schmo, side of the road, fucking anyone, right?
Yeah.
So a dude goes from Illinois, another state, Illinois.
You can call it Illinois.
Yeah.
It's more fun.
With a weapon to protect property for whatever, but because there's riots going on. Now,
Yeah.
I don't condone rioting and fucking destruction and all that shit. Like, I don't. Like, I understand the protests. Protests are cool. I get all that. Once you get into rioting and destroying shit, you know, you're not doing any good at that point.
No.
But it does happen.
So
now, it all started from like a former mayor or some shit fucking tweeting out, or not tweeting, but posting out on Facebook for everyone to go there. And on top of that, that same guy bailed at like fucking whatever the curfew was. He was like, "Yep, my wife called me. I'm out."
Yeah. Well, the whole situation with Kyle Rittenhouse, if you're not familiar with it, he was he 17 at the time, Grizz? Maybe he's still 17. So he was underage.
He's 18 now.
Yeah, he's 18 now. But when he did this during it was a Black Lives Matters protest, which typically included rioting and looting. That's not what we're talking about today. But when Kyle looked at this situation, he saw rioting and looting. And for whatever reason, he decided it was his civic duty to grab a gun and go there and protect the businesses that were being looted, which is a nice thought. But there's two problems with that. One, he didn't live in that state. Two, he couldn't legally have a firearm. He was underage.
There's so many issues there. One, you're not going to let the cops do their job. And on top of that, so I'm all pro Second Amendment, right? But at the same time, you have to be responsible gun owner. You have to be responsible person and citizen. And I know for a fact, dude, if I brought a rifle to any sort of protest, I don't care what the fuck it is, that's probably not going to be a good time. The same thing with like open carry. If you want to get into open carry real quick, all open carry is doing is telling the people who would shoot you that you have a gun.
Yes.
So that's a bad idea.
So in his case, then he kind of he created a target being himself.
Absolutely. I think every single one of them who was there that night. Yeah, exactly. And even if you talk to some of them, they're like, yeah, it was noticeable when people saw us with guns that it brought up tension. It was like, yeah, that's how it works.
Makes a lot of sense. That's what it would do.
You know what I mean? If you owned a business there and you wanted to stand outside your business with a gun, like and it's Wisconsin, so you can open carry. It's legal to do so. Then by all means, go do it. It's your property. Like I don't have an issue with that.
Right.
But whenever I hear this, and again, this is me, like, if you want to own a gun, right? I have no problem with that. I think you should be trained. I think, you should be safe with it, and maybe you should have a mature brain.
Yeah.
But almost everyone who went to this thing, you look at them, and you're like, you're just trying to dress up and think you're cool and maybe get the chance to shoot someone. And so the scenario that happened was Kyle broke off from his group of vigilantes, and he was just on his own. And a guy who apparently had some mental health issues, and I don't know if it's true or not, but it said that there was word going around that he was a child molester, shit like that. In this scenario, it doesn't really matter. Is he a good, bad guy? It doesn't matter. And so he throws a bag of whatever at Kyle, like a shopping bag. And they chase him down to where Kyle shoots him. Right. So one is they say, okay, so Kyle's acting in self-defense.
Yeah.
Unless that guy was literally coming at me with another weapon, to me, you're not really worried about self-defense at that point. You have a rifle. Like there are ways to stop him other than
that's the one that he killed, right? One of the ones that he killed.
Yeah, that's the first person he killed.
The first person that he killed who did not have a weapon, he was this guy you're talking about. I can't remember his name. We can look it up later if we feel that ambitious. But in the prosecution's when they were interrogating the witness that they had up, and this was the prosecution's witness. It was supposed to be against Kyle. What actually came out with this particular guy that he killed was that he was going for the rifle. And now
I believe
there's a lot of issues here because for one, he shouldn't have been there. So yeah, you can argue the guy wouldn't be dead if Kyle wasn't there, which is true. But that's a separate charge. And I think a lot of people don't understand the difference here, that him being there was a criminal act.
Yeah.
Well, not actually physically being there wasn't criminal. Being there with an illegal gun. Was it criminal?
He was past curfew. Police had set a curfew. Everyone.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot all about the curfew. But the curfew aside, he was there with an illegal gun. So he should not have been there. But that aside, that's a separate charge.
Yep.
This guy attacked him, and he tried to take Kyle's gun, and he was close enough that when Kyle shot him, on the coroner's report, he had stippling. He was that close that he got burned by the gun. So
you don't have to be that close with that.
Yeah, that's
Especially
true.
with that type of weapon. I mean, you've got to be within a few feet.
Yeah, it's still close enough where, I can see you arguing that you feared for your life, especially because he's 17.
Well, so that's the other thing. You have a 17-year-old, right? Where, there were military veterans there who were standing around doing their thing, which, okay, fine, if that's what you want to do. Probably not the smartest thing to do, but you can do that in that state. If someone's coming at you charging and you have a gun, there's a couple different options you can do without fucking killing them. You know what I mean? Shoot at the ground, fucking butt stroke them. But
I'd say butt stroking was his best option because but
it's a 17-year-old kid and he's scared. And on top of that, dude, if you want to get around the whole like legality of it, I'm pretty sure this kid was going there to try to do something like that. I mean, there's not really a reason you go there otherwise. Yeah,
unfortunately, you can't prove that. So
no,
let's talk about the actual case here. They're not trying to charge him with going there with malicious intent because that gets wrapped up in all the other charges.
That's not a criminal.
That gets wrapped up in all the other charges. He's probably going to get charged for the illegal possession of a firearm. But after looking at the prosecution's case and the way that the witness testimony went for them, I don't think he's getting murder. I think the whole situation is fucked up. And at the end of the day, it looks like everybody there was wrong. So the other guy that he shot, not the one he killed, he shot the guy's bicep off.
He shot the medic.
Was it a medic?
Yeah. So I mean,
that's the problem here. You and I have been
so much.
You and I have seen the news on it, and we don't have the same information. That's one of the issues we have.
Yeah. So after he shot this first guy, whatever his name is, he flees that scene. Or he calls someone, flees that scene. On top of this, he's wearing gloves while holding his rifle, which to me says you're trying not to get prints on your rifle. Like, okay.
Or he's a tactical boy.
But I'm not talking tactical gloves.
Well, like rubber nitrile gloves? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you're trying not to get prints on your rifle. So anyways, so he leaves that scene. And he's fleeing that scene, and everyone's just putting him on blast, being like, that dude just shot someone and fucking killed him.
Yeah.
And so another guy comes by and hits him with a skateboard, which, okay, if you're going after a dude with a skateboard, you're attacking him.
He hit him in the head with it. So that's an issue.
Yeah. And he's trying to disarm him. So like right now you're already in a gray area. You have a dude who just shot someone. Whether he's right or wrong, someone else attacks him because he just shot someone, right? So that guy thinks he's in the right. And so now Kyle shoots him, trying to defend himself. So that's self-defense. Yeah. Right, that kills self-defense.
The weird problem is except for the initial interaction where that guy charged him, it was just a weird de-evolution of a series of self-defense attacks.
Oh well, exactly. And so I mean, the second kill to me, I mean that's self-defense. What the motives are there, dude? It's the whole scenario is fucked. And then so after he kills that guy, there was a medic in the crowd. At least he says that he was a medic. I don't know what his profession was, but he was, treating wounds and stuff like that. Was there?
Yeah.
Probably fucking scrapes and bruises and shit. That guy was armed with a pistol.
He drew on him.
Concealed carry. He did. His concealed carry permit was expired. So another genius with a gun. And this sucks because I'm pro Second Amendment. Like if you want a gun, you should own a gun. So he draws on him, but he draws on him and like tries to hold the gun or something. Like most people who are pro Second Amendment and they've got a concealed carry or something, and they see something like that going down, I gotta imagine you would just put two of them. Like, why wouldn't you? If I'm seeing a dude shooting people, and he's got a rifle, and I literally just watched him shoot someone, I'm probably gonna shoot him. And I probably would have been the wrong there. Well, but that's the problem when you have a bunch of people with guns out in public.
Yeah. Well, guns really, unless you're even the police, it's kind of a gray area. I don't think guns belong at a protest because it's very easy to destabilize that environment.
Absolutely.
Even cops, there's a reason they give them less than lethal weapons. They're called that, but you can get really fucked up with their less than lethal weapons.
Oh yeah, you can kill someone if you aim in the right place.
But the fact that these regular civilians are standing out there at a protest, which has devolved into a riot with guns, someone's going to get shot.
And here's the messed up thing on top of it. The police had relatively good control of it.
Yeah. Well, it really, at the end of the day, this was a pretty like a short burst of events, you know.
Oh yeah, I don't know what the timeline is from first shot to last.
But we weren't there. We can't really say. We're not at the court case with them
There
looking
was
at
a
all the
lot of
evidence.
fucking mistakes. That's what I
Yeah.
think.
But let's talk about what's been in the news for the trial. Okay.
Mhm.
So the prosecution,
Is retarded.
I don't know how it almost seems intentional how bad he's doing, you know?
It might be.
It could be
mean,
because
have such a
maybe he's a
political divide right
sympathizer of one side, you know? Maybe he's not impartial. Maybe that's the issue here. But if you look at what's going on with the case, it seems like everybody was blindsided by the witness testimony who was testifying for the prosecution, because the people that were up there, if you listen to what they said, it sounds like Kyle was entirely acting in self-defense, aside from the fact that he was there in the first place.
I mean, I think he was acting in self-defense to a degree, but I also think
Yeah.
you have a mixing pot of shit that was just gonna go wrong.
Yeah. But I'm not a lawyer. I'm not trained in law, but from what I know about the way the law works in the US, I think that the prosecution's chances of charging him with any level of murder are totally gone now.
I think that here's the problem, right? So much that's out there, we don't know what the
Mhm.
truth to any of it is.
Yeah.
I think you have a high likeliness of a mistrial.
Well, that's what they're talking about right now is the potential for a mistrial. For one, because actually there's two situations that I think really lend a lot of credibility to that. One of the, I don't remember what the guy's name was, one of the prosecutor's witnesses on the stand said that the prosecutors tried to bully him into giving the testimony they wanted, which is illegal. And if you're
Mhm.
going to say that on the stand in front of the judge, it's not looking good for the prosecution's case.
No.
But another thing that the prosecutor did, which the judge was really pissed about, was
Yeah, the judge blew up on him.
he blew up on him. So in the United States, if you get arrested, you have the right to remain silent because anything you say will
Miranda
definitely be
rights.
used against you.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're Miranda rights. We won't get into the whole details of that, but you have the right to not talk. In fact, it's advised, don't talk.
Yeah.
Wait until you get your lawyer.
Mhm.
And so during the trial, the prosecution was basically saying that he must be guilty because he refused to talk. That was very, very bad to say.
This guy is not very smart in the world of law.
Well, he looks like a knucklehead to begin with. He has got a faux hawk. What are you going to do? You know?
I mean, looking like an idiot doesn't have anything to do with knowing law or being a good prosecutor.
All right. I'm being judgmental. You're right. But based on his actions alone, he's fucking it up. If he wanted murder, he's not going to get it acting that way.
I mean, dude, going into this to get murder, you were aiming high. What I think happened here is he saw a high stakes case and he said, I don't know if who's he actually on the side of the city, like the city?
The prosecution?
Yeah.
It's just the city or state versus Rittenhouse.
Okay. So I don't know if he volunteered for it or what. I don't know if that's how that works.
It's probably a case that he was appointed to because he works as a prosecutor.
Yeah. Which, I mean, man,
they
drew a
get to
short
choose
stick on
most
that
of the
fucking one.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I mean, at the same time, if it was a big case, you'd think someone would want to own up and be like, "Hey, yeah, I want to do this."
I don't know.
And
I don't
to
know
me,
the
I think
workings.
with the court of public opinion, he probably thought like this is a sure thing, right? With the way the world's going, but it's not. Once you get into actual like law, this is very gray.
It is. Like this whole case is gray, but let's bring up one more thing before we go on to whatever the next headline is. I don't understand how this case is being played on Facebook.
What do you mean?
It's basically being televised, broadcasted live.
How do you not understand that?
Because well, you know what? It's probably intentional, but it's a very bad play because of how divisive this is.
Yeah, but here's the thing, dude. Since I've been alive, they've done this. It's just
I know they've done it, but it seems like
media.
it goes directly against having a fair trial. You know, because now you're basically showing the entire public what's happening. And
yeah, but your fair trial decides on the jurors, right? And they have to keep
I guess
just like
right.
with the George Floyd thing, they keep everyone secluded.
Yeah,
so
I
they
don't.
don't
I
know
think we need
shit.
to revamp our jury selection thing too. But
Why? Well,
so
why? Because the case isn't going the way you'd like it to go.
I don't have a stake in this case at all. I want it to go the way of justice. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But when they choose a jury, I've only done jury duty once,
I haven't
and
done it ever.
I can tell you from my experience and from talking to people who have gone through an entire case. I didn't do a whole case with it.
Mhm.
I know people who went through an entire case, and they talking to them and talking to a couple of lawyers about it. When you have a jury, they don't really ask them if they'd be a good fit. They just try and rule out issues like, are you
Mhm.
racist? No? Good, you're
Yeah.
in. Let's go. The problem is a lot of them are not fit to be judging anybody, because the situations that these people that I spoke to have been in is they get to the end and they need to come to a conclusion.
Mhm.
And maybe one or two people at the end are hung up in the jury because of some mundane detail that wasn't really even part of the case.
Well, that might just be them trying to extend it.
And no, they're just not processing information correctly. There was another one. There's another one
Yeah,
where
but
this
you
woman
can't.
refused to come to a charge. She wouldn't agree on a charge because she didn't want to send someone to jail.
Yeah, that's a weird one, but
Yeah.
I understand.
So
Like,
I
and
think
that's
that the jury selection thing needs to be reworked. But what I thought was interesting on this case, because it's been televised now, or social mediaized, I'll call
well,
it
it's been
that.
televised. It's on
I don't
YouTube.
watch.
It's on all
I don't
that.
watch TV. I don't watch TV. It's
No one
just,
does
this is
anymore. The
social
only people watching
media-ized.
TV anymore are fucking people who are 65 plus.
That's
And
true.
it's
So
probably on there too.
did you see that the lawyer forgot to put his phone on silent? And when someone had called him or something, and when it went off, his ringtone was Trump's theme song.
Was that which lawyer was that? Because I had heard that it
Sorry,
was
it was the judge. Sorry, it was the
yeah,
judge.
I had heard that it was the judge. Which
Yeah.
so on top of that, like, and if that's true,
Yeah.
because God knows if it is.
Well, I saw the video. It
Did
sounded
you?
like it.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
can still fucking you and I know we can put
Yeah.
in whatever we want. Anyone who watched the other week's episode, Jerry had all sorts of shit going on in the background.
Yeah.
If it's true, that's a mistrial right there. Because here back to what we were saying about, like, this country's become so, and I don't think it really has. I think you're hearing about it so much, right?
Mhm.
What's being put out there is so divided.
Yes.
And to me, to have a political leader decide the way you live life is kind of fucked up. It's pretty dumb in my mind. So all those out there I just offended, I don't care. Like, make up your own mind. Don't let someone else do it for you. Whether that's Biden or Trump. If you follow them like a god, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And like right now, the people getting pissed off at the "Let's Go Brandon" thing. Do you know about this?
Yeah. Let's go. Brandon means what is
Fuck
it?
Biden.
Fuck Biden, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which to me,
Or
if
fuck
you're
you, Biden, I think is what it is.
yeah, whatever, same thing with six and
Yeah.
a half dozen another. So if you're a liberal and you're getting pissed off at that, you're just fucking, if you're literally doing what they want it to do.
Speaking of liberals in the news talking about that situation, I watched it was just a little snippet. This guy was interviewed, just, you know how the news just interviews random people on the street, right? Well, they
Sure.
asked what he thought about the "Let's Go Brandon" thing.
Mhm.
And he was really complaining about how disrespectful it was that they were basically saying "fuck you, Biden," but he was literally wearing a "fuck Trump" t-shirt.
And that's the thing. It's not my side, so it's bad.
Yeah.
Right.
And actually, when I read the comments on a lot of the videos, like for Kyle Rittenhouse that we were just talking about, reading the
It's
comment
all
section,
political.
it's, if they don't agree with Kyle, they take whatever they've heard and say he should get the death sentence. Or
Yeah.
it's extremes like that. But enough about Kyle. Let's move on to the next bit of news. What do you think?
I don't know. Just fucking pick one, man.
All right. Aha. This is what I was hoping that we'd see. Elon Musk just sold 1.1 billion in Tesla stock, but the
Yes.
move was planned weeks before asking his Twitter followers whether he should sell 10% of his shares. What the fuck, Elon? What are you doing?
Well, this gets back into all sorts of shit, but this goes into the whole UN thing, right?
Okay.
You heard about that?
I have not.
What? It's crazy.
No.
So anyways,
Yes.
the UN, I believe it's the UN, said something like 1% or 10% of if Elon Musk took 1% or 10%, whatever it is,
if
could
Elon
solve
Musk,
hunger.
World hunger would be able to be solved if Elon Musk gave them $6 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did hear about that. I didn't realize it was a UN thing.
Which I don't know if it has anything to do with that.
Okay.
Dude, Elon's worked and manipulated the fucking market for years now. Like,
I don't understand how he has not gotten in serious trouble for this. But
because
what you're talking
so
about,
many people do it. Like,
yeah, but he does it.
Big monies,
He blatantly does
blatantly.
it, and it's
Mhm.
intentional. You know, it's intentional. When he said, this was either in 2020 or 2019, he tweeted, "I think that the value of Tesla stock is entirely too high.
Yeah,
it crashed.
Yep.
He bought it."
Exactly.
Okay, that's blatant market manipulation.
It is, but I mean, I don't know what the rules around that are to prove anything. I mean,
I
he
don't
could just be
either.
like, that's just my opinion.
But I do have some serious concerns for the economy if a tweet can do that.
Why? Of course, a tweet can do that. Look what the president.
It doesn't make sense that we live in a society where a tweet can tank a stock enough for someone to buy it up, because all he's saying is, I think it's valued too high. Why would people hear that and say, yeah, you're right? Because they sold it.
Here's the thing with stocks and stuff that I've learned over the last few years.
Yeah.
A lot of it has to do with what's trending and what's being on. Like, dude, if you go on right now and look at any stock, they'll tell you if it's trending or not on Twitter.
Yes.
Right. Which right there is fucked up. And
well,
a lot of it had to do with what all right, Ford put out in the news that they're coming out with a new truck. The stock's going to go up, right?
Well, that's
now
a little
you
bit
have
different.
a media outlet that can hit way more people.
Yeah.
And so Twitter's the new outlet. It's just, and a lot of people idolize Musk. I don't know why, other than he has a shit ton of money.
I think I have, as you know, we talked about this when we first started the show. I have conflicted feelings about Musk.
Yes.
I think he's a douchebag. He really is. But he's the only douchebag making viable space travel affordable for our country.
I think he's a douchebag to a degree. I think he's a tool more than anything. But I think he's willing to do the things to make it so we can do, like, he'll cut the corners.
Yeah.
Not that that's a good thing, but it is a good thing to get, like, if you look, perfect example is SpaceX versus Blue Origin, right? They both started relatively the same time. Both poured in a shit ton of money to it, but Blue Origin went the safe route, and all they did was fly Bezos up and back down
in his dick-shaped rocket.
Yeah,
it's just like Goldmember,
right? Where SpaceX was like, nope, fuck it, we're gonna blow up some shit, and just boom, 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 you know?
Yeah, actually, their first 10 years, I was like, they're never gonna get anywhere because they blow up every fucking rocket they launch.
But I have to give
had a purpose. I actually found out that a lot of times those are on purpose.
Oh, I'm sure. I have to give him props. Like, so many people are like, oh, he's a genius. He's not really. He just tells engineers to do this shit, and they do it.
Yeah, he didn't design the rocket. He just whipped the corporate slaves and made them do it.
He might have an idea in it. I don't know, but
I'm sure he has a greater understanding than an average person how his rockets work. But he did not build them. He financed them and pushed the agenda to make it happen.
Yeah, he also seems to have a mentality where he wants to know what the fuck's going on with it. So he might have a little bit more knowledge there. But, like,
well, I think
all his ideas are just, hey, go do this and make it happen. I don't care if it's a money pit.
Yeah, and that's the issue with space travel. It is a money pit for a crazy long time until it's viable.
Dude, it takes so much fuel. So much fuel.
So his rockets, in my opinion, are the best we have right now. I think that's pretty hard to dispute. And yeah, he wasted a lot of time and money building them. I guess if you want to look at it that way. But now NASA has to spend a lot less money to send things up to space, send their satellites, go restock the ISS.
Dude, anything private's going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
Than building it yourself.
But
that's why
that gives him, according to this headline, gives him the opportunity to fuck with the market, and he's a billionaire, which I think is problematic in itself.
It is, but I think any billionaire is going to fuck with the market. No one's going to stop him.
Yes, but here's the issue with him. His arguments crack me up because they're ridiculous. The government, at least the liberal government now, wants him to pay taxes, which I can agree with that to a certain extent. There's this argument. We're not going to get too deep into this, but there's this argument that because he has what is it? The net worth of some billions of dollars. Basically, he's worth this much money. Him and Jeff Bezos are worth some ungodly number of billions of dollars.
6 billion, something, 100 billion, whatever.
Yeah. And they want to tax his wealth. Well, the problem with that is a lot of it's unrealized. There are systemic issues with how that operates, but you're going to tax somebody on money they don't actually have. He's worth that and he can access it, but he doesn't actually have it. So you're trying to tax people on unrealized gains, which if you don't know what that is, it means you buy stocks for $1 a piece. They shoot up to $100 a piece in value. You have now gone up that much in value. So you instead of, let's say you bought $10 worth.
Yep.
Later on, you're worth 100 times that, but you don't actually have the money. The way it works with rich people is they take out loans. So they don't really have money. They have value, and they take out loans for however much they want to do, and they just slowly pay it back. So they're just constantly in debt, even though they're worth a lot of money. So they want him to pay, I think it was, I don't know the percentage. It's like $10 billion. And to do that, he has to sell stocks. And I think what he did was fuck with the stock market for when he was selling, because he just sold over $1 billion worth of stocks. I don't know. It's kind of, I don't even know what to say about that situation. It's so fucked up.
I mean, right now you're in a, I don't know if there's a word for it, and I don't remember what it's called, where it's basically just going against people like CEOs and shit making a stupid amount of money, or having a shit ton of money. Listen, I think they should be taxed. They should not be paying less tax than I pay, right? It should not work that way.
But the issue is with the way they're compensated. It's untaxable a lot of the times.
Well, a lot of times the reason they're getting out of tax is that they're doing deductions and shit.
Oh yeah, they can write off everything.
Yeah, which to me, how many write-offs do you have, Jerry?
I actually have so few that it's usually better for me to take the standard deduction.
Exactly. So it's like, all right, the write-offs are there for what purpose? Basically to save people with stupid amounts of money.
Yeah, those write-offs only work for business owners who make above a threshold, which is if you're rich enough to actually take that much in write-offs, you're pretty well off already.
I think the write-off had to be, I think it's like 20,000, something like that. 25.
So let's see some of the details on this. He made plans a week after asking his Twitter followers whether he should sell 10% of his shares. That's a lot of money. So he sold $5 billion in Tesla shares after exercising a $2.15 million stock option priced at $6.24 each. He also asked Twitter whether he should sell 10% of his shares. His followers said yes. Musk's plan to sell his own shares was in place weeks before he even asked his Twitter followers that. And he offloaded only about 3% of his Tesla holdings. Now, why is he doing that? Why is he selling 10%? Well, only 3%, but why is he talking about selling 10% of his shares? I don't know what his end game is here. Seems very Dr. Evilish.
I wouldn't be shocked if you had someone like that out there who was just planning something fucking malicious.
Well, that's Jeff Bezos. Speaking of being in the news, did you see his? You saw his court situation. He has some kind of court battle that he lost with NASA, right, for the contract.
Yeah, there was something. Bezos fucked something up there.
No, he didn't fuck it up. He was just being Bezos. So, they put out a bid. Look it up while I talk about it. So I don't remember what the name of this project was that NASA wanted to do, but NASA can't afford to do it themselves because it's crazy amount of money for government to fund themselves.
Well, NASA, my understanding was NASA had to delay something because of Bezos or something like that.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting to. So I think it was sending something like a moon lander up. You can look that up while I'm talking about it, Chris.
Yeah, I'm looking.
But they put it out to bid, and of course, SpaceX bid on it, and then Blue Origin bid on it. SpaceX said $2 billion. We'll give you the rocket. Now, they were going to build it anyway. All this did was supplement their costs. And they actually said that to them. They said, we'll build it for you for $2 billion. If you don't, we're going to build it anyway. So let us know. Well, NASA, before they put this out, said, this is what our budget is. And it was around somewhere between 2 and 4 billion. I don't know the exact number. But Blue Origin, run by Jeff Bezos, decided that they would bid $6 billion, expecting them to counter, and they'd come down to the top end of their budget. But NASA saw that quote and said, "You're so far out, we're just not going to go with you at all." And he was pissed because they gave it to SpaceX. And one thing that is kind of weird with American politics and government contracts is if you lose one, in this case, I think he legitimately lost it for pricing himself out. You can sue them for giving it to somebody else, and you take them to court. In this case, Blue Origin took NASA to court for this and saying it's like anti-competitive or whatever their bullshit argument was. But the problem is, if they have to go to court for that, they have to halt any construction related to that project. However, SpaceX got one up on Jeff again because they were already building it. They didn't have to wait anymore.
Yeah.
So normally they would say, you can't build this until the court case is settled. But because SpaceX was literally already in the planning phase of building this, they didn't have to wait because it's their project to begin with. They were just going to be basically supplementing the income and then giving it to NASA.
It was the Artemis program.
What's the Artemis program?
It's launch the Orion spacecraft on a powerful space launch system rocket without people on board. During the mission, Orion will fly around the moon on a voyage lasting 3 weeks in order to test its system.
Okay, so they were just going around the moon, not landing on it.
Yep, but then the first flight with astronauts, Artemis 2, will now follow in 2024. So it's trying to land on the moon again.
Yeah, so that's their end game, which I think we should do. If we plan on doing things in space, we need a moon base.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of space travel, man. Like,
yeah,
I think it's going to happen. Like, the moon is way more likely than Mars, right? Mars has so many issues with it.
Well, the moon has a purpose. Mars is just like a dick measuring contest for Elon. There's no real reason to go to Mars. Anything you want to explore there, you can do with the robots they already sent.
Yeah, but I think they're looking at Mars to see how viable. They want to find if there was life before. They want to find if there's water. Like,
well, I'm sure that it had both, but it doesn't really matter that much. We can study it, but like I said, you don't really need people there to do that.
No,
now,
but I
if
think
we're talking about the moon,
Mhm.
the reason we want to go to the moon is because it's a lot less gravity. So it can be like they want to make a base, like a jump off point to go to other places. And that's because there's less gravity, means less fuel.
Yep.
It's your 200-ton rocket would weigh much less. It's a lot easier to lift off.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the moon is made out of helium-3. Not other things, of course, but it has a shit ton of helium-3. And helium is used in rocket fuel, among other things. And helium-3 is a really good one. And most of it's all on the moon. We don't have a whole lot here compared to that.
Well, that's the thing. So, like, to me, if you want to actually get into space travel, right, you need to go somewhere and start building spaceships to where it's viable, whether that's in orbit, which would be such a pain in the ass, or you have to do it, like you said, on the moon, but you'd have to have a lot of logistics going on there.
Speaking of going to space, I don't like Jeff Bezos. I don't like Blue Origin. I think they suck.
Do you like anyone with money, Jerry?
I do. Like I said, I have a complicated view on Elon Musk. I think he's a douchebag. I like what he does, so I can't really say that I hate him. But Jeff Bezos, if you like him, there's something wrong with you. That's my opinion. Do you like him, Chris?
I've never met the man, so I can't say one way or the other. Do I like?
All you have to do is listen to his interviews, look at his policies, and look at what he did with his Blue Origin. He literally thanked Amazon employees and Amazon customers for paying for him to go to space in his cock rocket.
Yeah, but that's like almost every business owner I've ever come across, man. If you started a business from fresh, that's all of them. They don't. They live a different world. It's a different life. That's every single one I've met.
But what I think was funny with his cock rocket is they all went up to space, quote unquote.
Yeah. Whatever
really
stratosphere they were in.
Yeah, it was really just like a cheesy low Earth orbit. They were in zero-ish gravity, but they weren't in space.
They were like the height that the SR-71 used to go.
Yeah, they were not really in space.
No, in space to me is you're orbiting the moon.
Yeah, I do also. One thing I like about Elon more than Jeff in terms of their space companies, Elon's not fucking off going up for joy rides just because he wants to like take famous people up there.
Here's the thing, though.
He has actual scientific goals.
If you had that kind of money, would you not go to space?
Well, let's talk about some context here.
No.
I am planetarily conscious. I don't want to launch any rockets that don't have to be launched. We have enough issues to deal with here without burning more fuel.
You wouldn't have the money then. If you had that kind of money, would you not want to go to space? It's only one. When you die, no one gives a shit about you.
Well, everybody wants to go to space.
There you go. So
But
you're faulting the man for doing what you'd want to do.
I would behave more like Elon. Yes, as a billionaire, I'd be trampling over peasants, whatever. That's what they do. But I'd be a lot more interested in actual functional space travel and rockets, where his is literally just like a really high airplane.
Yeah, I mean, again, dude, if I'm not going to fault anyone for making money. I think there is a point where you're making so much money is just stupid, right?
Yeah.
But if you're making money, like, you deserve to make the money. But are you making money to sacrifice everyone else in your company? Like, what was his income the last year? It was something ridiculous. He wasn't even doing that much in the end. Yeah.
Jeff Bezos is making money so that after he's done destroying Earth, he can fuck off and go somewhere else.
But I mean, he doesn't even work for Amazon anymore. He's still getting paid, I'm sure.
No, he still works for Amazon. He just doesn't own it anymore. He stepped away as CEO, but he's still on the board.
Yeah, but I mean, even the last year he was on the board. He wasn't there doing much at all. He was still making stupid money. Like,
Listen,
at what point are you making?
You defending Jeff Bezos just don't sit right with me.
How am I defending him? I'm trying to say right now.
Just shit on his stupid bald little head.
My point is, at what point are you making so much money that you're just to spite everyone else?
I don't know, man. Let's see what else is in the news today. You want to talk about PS5 or Travis Scott?
Fucking do Travis Scott. But what's the PS5? Let me choose. Do I want to keep this down in the dirt and miserable?
This is not miserable. This is fucking great. All right. So the Sony headline: Sony reportedly cuts PS5 production again as chip shortages and shipment issues bite. Travis Scott no longer partnered with McDonald's. Rapper continues to face backlash as Astro World death count rises.
All right. Well, let's hit PS5 and then we'll hit Travis Scott real quick.
All right. Let me bring up the article. It's a tech website, of course, because it's PlayStation 5. Oh, so, I mean, PlayStation is going to build 1 million fewer units than it forecast earlier. So they cut their production 1 million.
But so how long are we going to be seeing this chip shortage? I know so many people who are just like calling, and I'm not saying they're right or wrong. They're just calling bullshit on blaming COVID for shit. I'm like, well, why would they want to not sell more?
Well, so COVID, I guess technically we can say that it's the reason. So if you look at what happened with COVID, they shut everything down immediately.
Yeah, and you're going to see a ripple effect for years. Yeah,
for some reason, people think they shut down for 6 months. They should be back up to production level 6 months later. It doesn't work that way.
No.
I'm not sure where that mentality comes from. I guess they think it's just equivalent.
I think it's just
but it's a lot more complicated.
And usually their work might not have to do with actual manufacturing or anything.
Yeah, manufacturing is not simple.
Well, also, I mean,
especially when you're making chips.
It depends on what you're doing, but ramping up isn't always viable.
So
I mean, I was saying
microchips are made from raw materials, though. And what actually is the main issue with microchips and other things that they can't get their hands on for electronics in particular, the raw material processing stopped. Mm-hmm. And when you mine raw materials, it's really, really slow. So if you lose 6 months of active mining, it's going to take you weeks, if not months, just to get your operation up and running again before you're really even pulling anything out of the ground anymore.
Well, and on top of that, how many people died?
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing that people are missing. There's a lot of people don't exist anymore.
What are we up to now?
So I don't know what the number is for how many people have died from COVID or COVID complications. But whether you believe COVID or not, that number is a real number of dead people. They all had jobs. Well, maybe not all, but a lot of them had jobs. And those jobs are no longer filled.
So total so far, 5 million, 5.7 million.
So 5.7 million people globally. Let's assume maybe 2.5 million of those people had a job. It's probably more than that, because really, if you died of COVID, you're probably out catching it somewhere. You know, it's not you're going to sit at your house and catch it. So you're out doing your thing, and then you don't exist anymore. Well, now someone has to work without that person.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think, like I said this a year ago, and I don't think people were realizing it. You're going to see the ripple effect of this for 10 years. If
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, that's
And
what I think.
we're still in the middle of it, dude. It's not even fucking done yet.
Fortunately, though, because of the way consoles work now, 10 years from now, the PlayStation 5 is still going to be new.
Maybe. I mean, we went from fucking 360 from 4 to 5 pretty quick. You went from 3 to 4 slow as hell, but 4 to 5 quick.
Yeah, how long was the PlayStation 3 out before we got the 4?
It was like
No,
10
well,
years.
the
It
PlayStation
was
4
long
came
enough.
out in 2012. PlayStation 5 came out in 2020.
Did it really? Was it that
Yeah.
soon?
Yeah, I actually
No.
got the PlayStation 4 the day it came out in 2012.
Felt super quick. But anyways, Travis Scott. Over
So
to
Travis
that.
Scott, let's check
Those
it out.
of you who don't know, he had a concert. Some people died.
It's called Astro World.
Astro
right,
World. Some people got trampled.
Yeah, they got
and-
squashed.
And then so the ambulance couldn't get in to do anything. The event staff didn't seem to give a fuck.
Well, it's a
Here's
little
my
more
thing.
it's a little more than that, though. What's your thing?
People want to blame Travis Scott. I don't know him from a hole in the wall. My odds are he didn't hear shit.
No. Have you watched any of the videos or read the headlines?
Yeah.
He could see people going down and people that were injured. And he specifically told the crowd not to let medics through.
What?
And that's one of the reasons that he's in such a shitstorm.
Why would he tell the medics not to get through?
I don't know. But at other concerts he's had, he has told the crowd to gang up on individual people. Like this one guy stole his shoe once, which he got back like immediately. But then he told the crowd to beat the shit out of that guy, which they did because they're a mob. It's you ever been to a mosh pit?
That's a lot of concerts.
It's a wild time.
Yep.
So if you're in a mosh pit and the guy or band or whatever you're there to see tells you to do something, most of the time they do it.
Yeah.
Because they're
Cult
just
mentality.
they're like fucking zombies. It's a wild ride.
You tell me like Trump or Biden didn't tell his people to do that, they wouldn't be like, okay.
That I can see happening in artists yelling to the crowd, do this. And they're like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm going to do it. So
you told me to kill this person. I followed it.
At Astro World, I don't know what triggered it, like how it devolved into the situation it was where people are getting trampled. But the main issue is Travis Scott was telling everybody not to let anyone in or out, including medics.
There's another thing to this, right? There ain't no such thing as bad PR anymore.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
There ain't. Dude, fucking, it doesn't matter. I mean, we have morals, so we try not to fucking put things on blast. But if you just went and just said something completely awful off the hook, it just gets you views. And that's what the world's about now. Views and likes and all that shit.
Well, let me read you a couple passages here.
After that shit, all his social media went up.
Well, yeah, of course, everyone's going to look it up now. So the Houston Police and Houston Fire Department are still investigating what exactly led to the massacre at Nrg Park last Friday, where 50,000 concert goers began to surge and stampede toward the stage, crushing countless victims. So I don't think anybody really knows why that happened.
It's a concert. My wife was telling me this, that there was like a 12-year-old, 8-year-old kid, 9-year-old kid that got injured or maybe killed. And I was like, what the fuck are you having a 9-year-old kid in a pit for? And she's like, and I'm like, no, if you have a 9-year-old, if you've ever been in a pit before, that's a fucking nightmare. Like, why would I bring a 9-year-old to a pit?
Well, he is getting a lot more engagement on social media. But he and I think Drake are also facing like billions of dollars worth of damages they're gonna have to pay. I don't know if they'll end up having to pay that at the end of the day, but they're looking at some serious. I don't know. I really don't know. But they're looking at some serious lawsuits. And now Travis Scott is getting dropped by a lot of sponsors. McDonald's is family friendly. They don't want. Yeah, McDonald's doesn't want to be associated with trampling people to death. They just sling burgers, man.
It is interesting how that shit works now. It's like, all of a sudden fucking you get just nowadays, if they're on you, fucking Twitter crown, if they want you down, everyone's going to drop you.
Yeah. So I don't really know. Actually, I don't know what's going to happen with that. I definitely see myself. I see him as being in the wrong.
Here's a question for you. What do you think about Aaron Rodgers? Do you know about what's going on with that?
Yeah, he lied about having the COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
I've actually seen him equated to what's the guy's name who took the knee?
Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, Colin. So Colin Kaepernick got banned from the NFL because he took a knee and wouldn't stand up for the.
He didn't really get banned from the NFL. Basically, teams didn't pick him up.
Yeah. So
which whatever.
So he's effectively kicked out of the NFL because he didn't want to stand for the anthem.
Yeah.
Listen, I am pretty fucking American. I think you should stand for the anthem, but I also defend your right to not stand for it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's the great thing about America. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But at the same time, piss me off. I don't have to like it.
It's fair. You don't have to like it, but you can't really you can't take anything away from him for exercising that freedom. It's his right to not stand for the anthem. It's not really that big a deal that he doesn't want to stand for it, and he took a knee in protest for it.
Now, my biggest thing with him is he was not a good enough player to do that and stay in the NFL. No team wanted to deal with that bullshit.
Yeah, that's where his gray area came from. He didn't have the talent to warrant what he did. So Aaron Rodgers, I think that he should be dealing with a lot more shit than he is right now, because what he did, because he lied about having the vaccine.
Okay.
And did he catch COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people on his team. Problem is, once it gets in the locker room, you're fucked.
Yeah. So that's the issue. If you don't want to get the vaccine, that's your choice, whatever. But what he did was he lied about having it, which put everybody else in a position where they considered him to be in the safe zone, where he was really the person that was going to go into that locker room with COVID more likely than anyone else and spread it.
Yeah. So there's so many things here that I find interesting, right? Because I understand if you want to get the vaccine, get the vaccine. If you don't. Yeah. I don't give a fuck, right? It's your body. Do whatever the fuck you want. People will probably put me on blast for that. In his scenario, I can understand why you might lie about it, right? Because the thing is, if you're in certain circles and you say you didn't get the vaccine, you're going to be constantly barraged and the whole nine. Now, there are other quarterbacks who didn't get the vaccine and no one gave a shit. It's just boom, you're there. And so at the same time, if he had seen that, why didn't he just say, yeah, I'm not going to get it?
Well, like I said, that's my issue is he lied about it. Is there some kind of standing order in the NFL yet where you're supposed to have the vaccine?
No. Lamar Jackson, who's the quarterback for Baltimore, I think, right? He didn't get it. He said no.
Yeah. So why lie about it?
That's the thing that it's just like, what?
I'm not a fan of a false sense of security, especially when it was intentionally a lie. Like I said, if you don't want to get the vaccine, don't get the vaccine, but don't tell people you have it and walk around like you're vaccinated.
I don't know. I don't know what the deal is there or why, you know what I mean? It seemed like he just didn't want to piss off people. Maybe. I don't know. It seemed kind of cowardly to me.
Yeah, it does seem that way. I do think it's funny now though, that he's just walking around saying, let's just move on from it. Let's just put it behind us.
Oh yeah, because he's on fucking blast now.
Yeah, I bet he would love that.
But dude, once you get into that, if you're in those sites, you're constantly under attack. Like, it's not going to be a good time. And he's going down that, like, he's blaming the woke people, and you can tell he's taking a political side on it. Choosing a political side, yeah, all right, you're going to get a lot of followers for that, but you're also going to lose a lot.
I don't know what the percentage is for extreme left and extreme right anymore, like how many people are on each side, but I guess, like, from a percentage standpoint, you'd have to assume starting off that's 50-50. So you're going to keep 50 and give up 50.
Yeah, well, I would say it's less than that, but because I think
it probably is, but I don't know the real numbers. So just for the sake of conversation here, you're giving up half.
Yeah, it's going to be a 40 something. You may pick up more than you lose, or you might lose more than you pick up. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's weird if you're in the spotlight to even take a political stance unless you, like, decide you want to be an activist for it.
Like, to that, he's a football player.
Yeah. I don't really care what a football player thinks, to be honest with you. Let's talk about something else in the news. I love this one. Yeah, I really love this one. Let me just bring up the whole article here. So here's the headline. 3 out of 4 Americans say Facebook is making society worse.
Okay.
Imagine that.
75% of people.
Americans have an overwhelmingly negative view of Facebook's role in society, according to a CNN poll published on Wednesday. Now, I can see a CNN poll having some bias, but as someone who doesn't like CNN, I would say it's probably not biased. It's pretty accurate. I don't know anybody that likes Facebook.
Hey, every poll you've ever seen is always biased.
It is. It's not a very good count. But in my own life experience, I don't know a single person who legitimately likes Facebook. A lot of people, like almost anybody that I talk to that still has it, they use it because they feel locked into it.
Yeah, but that's our like circle. Dude, there's so many people who still use Facebook.
No,
You know what I mean?
I interact with other circles that I don't necessarily agree with. Even the
Which are
ones
the
that are like
same.
Facebook's not that bad, they
Mhm.
don't like it. They use it because that's what's there and it's established. And
I
we
think a
should
big
actually
part of
call
this
it
is just-
Meta now. We got to call it
yeah,
Meta.
that's okay.
Metaface. We're talking about
When is the
Metaface.
robot gonna bust through my wall?
I would
mean-
say it is definitely contributing to the breakdown of society. And actually,
Yeah, but if it
So I
wasn't
don't know who
Facebook,
it
it
was,
would be some other form of social media.
well, social
Dude,
media is
like-
the issue, but Facebook is the juggernaut that started it.
I find it funny because my kids will want to watch YouTube or something else. It's like
Yeah.
the amount of bum info out there is ridiculous, and
It
they're
is.
just doing it just to get. I mean, they're intentionally doing it because it makes them money.
What's
And,
really we all know how the algorithms work. We've talked about it on the show countless times.
Mhm.
There are things on social media and YouTube and all that are accurate, but you don't see them because of the algorithm. So I don't know who it was. We can look it up in a second here. A person in Congress, I don't know if they actually proposed a bill yet or where they're just talking about this,
Mhm.
but they want Facebook and all social media to give people the option to turn off the algorithm,
Interesting.
which I agree with. I agree with
Yeah,
that.
you think Facebook's going to do it?
No, I don't.
Why would they?
Well, it's the only way they make money. And when I was reading about it, though, my first thought was I could see them turning off the algorithm if it was a paid service. Like if they said for Facebook, you can either pay for it and be off the algorithm or use it for free and you're on the algorithm. That makes
Mhm.
more sense.
It does, but
I don't-
at the same time, I don't think people are going to pay for it. Look at
I don't
YouTube
either.
Premium. How many people you
Yeah.
know pay for YouTube Premium?
2, maybe,
Really? Really? Are they
Yeah.
dumb?
maybe.
I mean, the ads are ridiculous.
I actually, every time I'm on YouTube,
Do it.
I get
Will
the
this
ad.
episode not air on YouTube now because I just put them on blast?
Don't say fuck YouTube.
Oh God, my bad.
I say- But yeah, I'm not ever gonna get YouTube Premium. Why would I get that?
No, dude. I
Actually,
mean, the ads are ridiculous lately. Like if
Now-
you watch something that has ads,
yeah.
I mean, a 10-minute or 15-minute clip can have 16 ads, and it'll have a banner.
Well, there are ways around that, and at the risk of YouTube blocking this video, if you're home, I can't help you if you're out. I don't really know anything about mobile ads and how to block them. But if you are at home on your own Wi-Fi, you can get a Raspberry Pi. If you don't know what it is, go look it up, and you can turn it into what they call a Pi hole.
Mm.
So it's PI hole. And what that does is it blocks all ads on your network. So if you're on YouTube on your TV, but you have a Pi hole running, you're not going to see another ad ever again.
Mm.
I have not set it
Interesting.
up. I actually have a home server because of my automation system. So I have a
Mhm.
server station set up, and
Dumbass.
I'm going to be installing it on that. I just haven't done it yet, but I'm really looking forward to the day where I can sit at home and watch something on YouTube and not be interrupted like mid-sentence of like an instructional video or something.
Like I understand the whole need for ads, right?
Sure.
Especially
But I don't
content
care about
creators
them
should
making
totally
money.
make money.
I just want my free
Um,
content.
Well, it's not even that. Like I don't mind ads on a whole. Fine, but there's a point when, and I know YouTube did it so that you would buy YouTube Premium.
Yeah.
Like, which to me, hey, people still aren't buying it.
No, they're not. But when you're talking about tech companies, once they establish something, they're not taking it back if it makes them money. I don't know how much they make on those ads, but it's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, well, dude, I mean, you look at a content creator and how much a big one and how much they make. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Some of them have like a business with 20, 30 employees just to keep it running. That's crazy. I mean, it's awesome, but it's crazy.
All right, Griz, what do you think about one more?
Oh, listen, I'll do whatever.
All right. So this one, I'm a little confused. So we're going to read the headline. This is actually from CNN.
Jerry's confused.
Well, you're going to know why in a second. So here's the headline. Biden administration notifies Congress of a $650 million arms sale to Saudi Arabia.
From who? Us?
Yeah, from us to them.
Oh, that's nice.
So now you can see my confusion.
Hmm.
I understand money, but like Saudi Arabia, we have issues there.
Hmm.
So that was according to a State Department spokesperson. And the sale comes as the Biden administration continues to grapple with the U.S.-Saudi relationship that has been strained in recent years following the murder of U.S.-based journalist Jamal Khashoggi and Saudi Arabia's involvement in the bloody conflict in Yemen. We have a lot of reasons not to sell Saudi Arabia $650 million worth of military equipment.
It's
and
like one
weapons.
tomahawk, man. It's fine.
You might be right. They're pretty fucking expensive. I don't know, Grizz. You have more military experience than me. As a concerned citizen who sees the headlines and the articles about Saudi Arabia, it seems like a bad idea.
It's interesting that we'd want to sell them weapons. Okay, there's got to be an agenda there. I don't know enough about Saudi Arabia about and who its enemy would be. I mean, dude, we've given guns and weapons
It's
to
us.
so many places.
We're the enemy.
There's other places. The
Well,
enemy
they
of
actually-
my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, that is how it works. But there's a lot of evidence now that strongly ties Saudi Arabia to the 9/11 terrorist
Agreed.
attack.
But I mean, you look at like what we did in South America. I mean, we turned that place into a shit show with fucking the CIA and just handing over guns instead of selling them guns.
Shit, we're still selling guns to South American drug cartels.
But that's my point. Like, it's interesting to see where that goes and why we're doing what we're doing.
Well, it could be because what I mentioned when I read that little passage there was the Biden administration is working on a strained relationship. So like a good faith type of sale.
Yeah, but problem is, if you took my approach to international affairs, we'd probably be at war with someone. Like, you know what I mean? Because to me, your allies are your allies, and anyone else, I'd be, fuck off. I don't care about you. And that could fester into something bad to, where it becomes something later. At the same time, I don't like having our hands in everyone's cookie jars. That's my approach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you get a little bit spread thin when you do that.
Yeah, I don't mind
really,
the humanitarian relief shit.
Yeah.
But when we're everywhere, and there are army bases fucking everywhere, it gets a little ridiculous.
Well, there's not really a whole lot we can speculate there. So let's find a light title to end this on. A light headline. I go with science.
Oh, I like science.
All right, Chris, you're not going to want to talk about this one. I'll just read some and you can pick one, okay? Fatty acid found in palm oil linked to spread of cancer. A little bit negative. A little negative.
Everything's listen, you're human, you're getting cancer. Next.
Feds abandon plan to shrink habitat of rare red wolves. Oh, I like this one. The first U.S. subsea cable plant for offshore wind farms opens in Charleston. Aha.
Let's talk about the fucking submarine that ran into an underground mountain.
An uncharted underground mountain. They missed that one.
Yeah, how do we still have uncharted underground mountains? In China.
Listen, it's the ocean.
We
know more about space than the ocean.
We've been saying that for fucking 40 years. We've got subs going everywhere, and they have stuff that tells them how close shit is. But if you're running really fast, I guess not. That's just twice that's happened. I always sit there, and again, I'm a skeptic, so I sit there and I go, did they actually run into an uncharted, or was someone asleep on the job? Yeah, just take this heading for a half an hour.
Well,
Boom.
We will not know because it's whatever their public relations release was is what we're going to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, I like this one.
Yes.
California-based startup Spin Launch is developing an alternative rocket launch technology that spins a vacuum-sealed centrifuge at several times the speed of sound before releasing the payload, launching it like a catapult up into orbit.
Yeah, I saw that. It looks like a turbo.
Interesting as fuck. Yeah, it does.
I mean, cool. Can you imagine being in that thing? Because you're still going to experience the G's. The G's don't go away.
Yeah, but that's like instant full force G's. I wouldn't want to.
I know. Like, how does a person survive this?
So, according to a report by CNBC, Spin Launch conducted the first test flight using its prototype electric launch system last month on October 22nd at a Spaceport America in New Mexico. It'll have the lowest cost in the industry. Rocket launches are incredibly costly and are also bad for the environment, as one launch generates several hundred tons of CO2, which is what we were just talking about with Bezos and going up into space on your cock rocket for no reason.
Yeah, but I mean, I also feel like we change every 20 years on what the problems with greenhouse gases are. First, it was methane and was it carbon monoxide? Right? Carbon monoxide going up would grab the O3, would grab one of the oxygen and become CO2.
CO2. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the problem. Now we're at CO2 is the problem.
Burning
Human
fossil fuels,
species is the problem.
yes, burning fossil fuels is problematic. And as we talked about in our climate change episode, it doesn't really matter if you believe climate change is real or not. Fossil fuels are finite, and that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, to me, we have to get away from fossil fuels for several reasons, but I think you'll still they're going to be around for a bit.
So what do you think of this space trebuchet? Are you going for a ride?
Dude, I don't think I'd survive the G's. That'd be bad. What's the G? Did it say what the G's in that thing were?
No, but I not knowing the engineering math behind that, if you're spinning something at several times the speed of sound and then you let it go, that's a lot.
Yeah, especially when all of a sudden you're in a vacuum, right? So for those of you who don't know, that's to reduce the friction, and all of a sudden you hit the atmosphere when you're like
you get real.
That's got to be fast. A fucking blow. And again, this is why we'll never have like warp speed. The human body can't survive it, right? The G's are just it would be ridiculous. And that thing is exactly what a centrifuge is, right? It's a centrifuge for testing out G's on a pilot. We put them up to like what 9, 10, 11 G's, and they can hold that for like 9 seconds. That thing's gonna be like fucking 20 G's for half a second. Well, our test subject's dead, but he's fucking out there.
Yeah, actually, NASA.
How many monkeys are we gonna kill on this thing?
So NASA, over the last 5 years, developed some kind of like, I don't know if there's a real one. It probably is not, but like documented prototype of a warp drive. Obviously, they can't implement.
Is this the warp drive one or the ion drive?
Both. They're two separate ones that they did.
Yeah,
so the warp drive. So if we're talking about like Star Trek or Star Wars, and they jump to hyperspace, I have a feeling that in real life, when you dropped out of hyperspace, the back wall of the room you're in is just going to look like a windshield with a bunch of bugs on it, where all the people are splattered on the wall.
Well, there's so many issues, dude. For one, you're going to hit something. Like, just think about it. All right, I got a straight line. There's nothing there. And bing, something's there like a second later.
If you're going that fast, you hit a pebble and it's going to implode your spaceship.
So bad. But again, you can't take the G's, right? Because, all right, on Earth, you have 1G constantly. But if you're under thrust at that speed, you're still getting a G from the thrust. Like, so if you're going at that speed to make light years of movement, you're just dead. It's going to be instantaneous. Like, it's so bad, which sucks because that would be so cool.
Yeah,
I don't know. Have some sort of wormhole thing going on.
Well, wormholes, they're probably our best bet. Would you jump into a black hole?
Into a black hole? Again, if I didn't have a family or anything, sure, fuck it, let's do it. With a family and everything, I have responsibilities.
I would take a long time to die, though.
We talked about this all the way on episode 1,
2 or 3, something like that.
I think it was. It might have been 2. I mean, if they had a ship and they told you like it's 60 years, it's gonna reach its destination and it's supposed to be a habitable world, would you go?
Yeah.
If you're asleep for all those years, or you're awake for all those years.
Well,
we don't have a way to sleep. I guess we could put you in a coma. But
but you're still aging. There's no point in doing that.
You're still aging and you're still atrophying.
Listen, I've seen too many sci-fi movies where everybody was asleep and bad shit happened. I'd rather be awake. So I can at least try to.
Out of your chest.
Yeah, I don't want that. A 60-year ride. If I knew that I'd still be healthy at the end when I was 90-something years old, sure, I'd go.
Well, let's say they take you at fucking 20. So you're gonna be 80.
So that's still pretty fucking old. I know a lot of 80-year-old people. I don't want to be 80.
Yeah.
I would do it though. If I could, either if I didn't have a family or if they could go with me, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
It would depend on the ship. If I went on the ISS, if we go on the ISS that far, no, I'm not doing that.
Why? Because you think you're gonna die?
No, because it's tiny. It's like getting shot out into space in a tuna can. I'm not doing that.
Listen, they're up there for what, 6 months, 3 months?
Yeah, months at a time. Now, like 2001: A Space Odyssey, that type of thing. Yeah, I'd go on that. Now, I gotta wonder if they'd still be able to beam me the video file for all the upcoming John Wick and Matrix movies, because that's another like linchpin in that plan.
I would say that's crucial for you.
Yeah, I can't watch the same Matrix movie for 60 years. I mean, I like it, but not that much.
When's Matrix 4 coming out?
Next month, 22nd.
Oh, really? So in a month from now, there's going to be an episode. You're just going to Jerry's brain's going to be plastered against that green screen because he hated it so much.
I don't think I'm going to hate it, but I do think it is going to end up being like the new Star Wars trilogy. Star Wars trilogy, where
they're
first
spinning off again.
Yeah, the first movie in the set of the three, the trilogy that they did. I don't remember what it was called. It's basically a rehash. No.
Yeah, episode
it's number episode 7.
Oh, you're just talking about 7. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the title of episode 7, but it's just a rehash of A New Hope with just a really, really big Death Star. I think the Matrix 4, Matrix Resurrections, is going to be a lot like that, where it's a lot like the first Matrix, because he's in a simulation now and needs to be woken up. I mean, how else can you do that?
And I saw an image the other day where Trinity had a shaved head. So, she got unplugged again.
I have a lot of confusion about that because there are people that are supposed to be dead. We'll find out.
I don't know. To me, there was this Hollywood's run out of ideas of anything original.
No, they have not.
What's original?
You're not ever going to see it because the production houses won't fund those.
But that's my point. So
Hollywood has a lot of original ideas. I've seen a lot of screenplays that don't get made, and it's some pretty cool shit. But it's not like an established venture already. Like the Matrix 4, they're making because they know they'll make money on it. Because dumbasses like me are going to go pay to see it, even if it sucks.
Yeah, but things like Netflix and Amazon are doing original things. Most of them are books, but
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They're not original. They're just an adaptation of a book. You know what I mean?
I don't mind that.
I don't mind that either, because a lot of books make a really great movie.
They fucked up
Hobbit.
My book, man.
I love the Hobbit movies.
Which one? Like the actual Hobbit movie?
Yeah, well, the Lord of the Rings was good too, but the last 3 movies, the Hobbit ones, those were good. I like those.
They fucked up mine, man. They fucked it up so bad. Without Remorse. That's such such a good book, and the movie they did was nothing like it.
I haven't seen it yet. That's the one with Michael B. Jordan, right?
It. Yeah. He's a good actor. Don't get me wrong. And if you didn't watch or if you didn't read the book, the movie's probably meh. It's okay. But if you watch the book and expecting the movie to be remotely similar, it's not.
I actually haven't watched it because watching the trailer, it just looks like a generic, like military style action movie to me.
That's what it is. Where the book is so dark.
Yeah.
Fucking it's so good.
You know what? You know what movie I think
they had good
fucked
scenes
up like that too? I read the Angels and Demons books.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And when the movies came out with
Daniel
Tom
Brown,
Hanks,
right?
Tom Hanks, yeah, it was Dan Brown books. So Tom Hanks, I like Tom Hanks, but I think the movies themselves, yeah, you have to condense this shit into a 2-hour movie, but I think they didn't do a very good job. They were okay movies.
Good. Sometimes they do crap. Like, it all depends on what it is. And if it's a really deep book, which Without Remorse was not a really deep book, like you could have turned that into a movie really well. Same thing with they're doing Rainbow Six. You could make that into a movie really easily. Like there's not much that you have that is lost in translation.
Right.
And they butchered it. I think they butchered Without Remorse because it was during Vietnam. And if you talked about it, if they did Vietnam shit now, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I actually watched another book adaptation movie recently, and I didn't finish it. It was Dune.
You watched the movie?
Yeah, but I didn't finish watching it.
It was that bad?
It wasn't bad. I just thought it was boring. Now, for context, I never read the books, and I didn't see the one from the 80s. So I don't know how it compares. But so watching it with no context and no clear idea of what Dune really was about, I was kind of bored.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. It looked cool as hell. Just
I would say that one's like got a lot of hype behind it.
It does. And they definitely dumped a lot of money on that project. Maybe I'm just used to the new formula where it's just constant action all the time. I don't know.
Actually, on the idea of movies and stuff, did you hear that the set is suing Alec Baldwin of the set of Rust?
For what? Mishandling the weapon?
Whatever. I don't know. I didn't see. I just saw that they were suing him. We'll have to let's look that up real quick.
Tell me what good old Alec is getting fucked over for.
Sorry, it's a crew member is suing Alec Baldwin.
Okay, so it's a civil suit.
The head of lighting on the film Rust filed a lawsuit Wednesday over Alec Baldwin's fatal shooting of the cinematographer.
What is he suing for? He didn't get shot.
He said the bullet that killed his close friend Hutchins narrowly missed him, and he held her head as she died.
So like emotional damages and stuff like that.
I don't know. They should never ever have had live rounds on the set.
That's
the lawsuit filed in Los Angeles Superior Court names nearly 24 defendants associated with the film, including Baldwin, who was both star and producer. David Halls, the assistant director, who handed Baldwin the gun. Why would the assistant director hand Baldwin the gun? And Hannah
Gutierrez.
Thank you. Reed, who was in charge of weapons on set. Yeah, why would the assistant director hand him a gun?
I think that entire production just went to shit.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, after The Crow, didn't that shit all get fucking revamped to where they had to do it like a certain way?
I think it's kind of a gray area. So when we talked about this before, over the last 60-ish years, there's been like 10 or so people who were accidentally shot and killed on set.
High?
Yeah, it is. It is.
The thing to me is usually they're using blanks, and if you're using blanks, there's got to be something in the gun to where a round won't really fly out of it. If you want the gun to cycle.
Yeah, I was actually reading about that after we talked about it. They do have these special prop guns. They're not real guns, and they have this weird little choke thing in the barrel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you still let out some gas, so it still has that. You can still see the fire or the burn come out, but it has to have enough that you're still going to cycle the weapon.
Now, what I'm wondering is, these fake guns exist, and I know that they're cheaper than a real gun. Why are you using a real one instead?
Oh, I mean, if you put a real round in there, would it blow through that and still do the
real
damage?
Round won't fit.
Really?
In the fake gun, it takes special fake ammunition that's for the fake gun.
So so then there's got to be something fucked up on there then.
That's what I don't know. We can speculate all day. I don't know why the fuck they had real rounds on that set.
I don't know either.
But my question is, you have a safe alternative. Why are you even fucking around with that?
I don't know. It blows my mind. I mean, even then, you'd still think there'd be. I have to imagine any action film who's worth a damn sits there and goes, all right, this is how we handle guns, and there's no choice otherwise.
That's the way it's supposed to be. And actually, I think it was Dwayne Johnson said he'll never allow a real gun on his set again after that.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame him.
It makes sense. He was probably just posturing on the internet, but I'm sure
at the same token, to me, it should fall with the person holding the gun, right? Like, you should, like, to me, if I had a gun right now and I pointed at someone and I shot and killed them, to me, I'm responsible. Like,
yeah.
And to me, it should be handed to you in a way where it's empty and you're okay. Oh, this is what I'm putting in it. Yep. I'm all about personal responsibility, though. Kyle Rittenhouse went there to kill people.
Yeah, he at the end of the day, I think that's really like, maybe he didn't go to specifically kill people, but he went there with malintent. That's my opinion.
Yeah, again, dude, you show up with a fucking rifle with latex gloves on.
Reminds me of those guys who were never in the military but dress in full gear and walk around like that. Even if you were in the military, that's fucking weird. Don't do that.
I mean, most military members look at you and you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Let's wrap it up, guys.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. A little bit different than what we normally been doing. If you like it, let us know. Hit us up in the comments and message us on Facebook and all that shit.
And now you know a little bit more about why we think the way we think and why we sound stupid when we talk to a smart guest.
Deep hatred.
You know about my deep hatred for Jeff Bezos
and Elon Musk and anyone who makes over
$1 billion,
200 grand a year.
$1 billion.
He is a lot like fucking Dr. Evil.
Yeah. So, talk to you guys next week.